in the pond going up, down, up, down, up, down. Tonight we're gonna raise a whole...
What's going on, guys? It's Tyler Jackson here, aka the Pig Duster. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'm coming at you with the first video for the channel this year besides the update video. So today I'm going to show you guys my setup and what I usually run when I get to the Paylakes. I usually run with 3 setups, one for bottom fishing and then 2 bobber setups. So I'm going to take you through the steps here and show you exactly what all I use and how I get this all set up, and let's get into it. Okay, so first off, you're probably wondering what type of reels and rod setups I use. Okay, so let me grab a rod back here. So I'm not sure if you can see from here, but I run the Citrix, the 364 version. It's got 8 bearings in it, and it's a low profile, and it's made by Kuma, and it comes with a clicker, just like, they all do. Very loud and really easy to pull, which is nice. I basically fell in love with these reels, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. I love them, and literally, if you're worried about casting them far or anything else, they cast just as far as any other bait caster does. So that's what I use. Now, when it comes to rods, I'm a big fan of the battalions, or as we call them, battle lines. But I actually found a new rod, which is the one that's hooked up to this one. It's also made by Kuma, and it's a Longitude CX. So it's a 9-footer. It's a trolling rod, and it actually did pretty well last season. I caught a lot of big fish on it, and it held its weight. So that's my rod and reel setup. And if I could recommend a good low profile reel, I would go with the Citrix for sure. And so let's get into it. Let's talk about what I got going on here when it comes to my setup. So most people, when it comes to Paylakes, if they're fishing with bobbers, they're going to have this basic setup here. And they're all different. We're all different when it comes to fishing. But for me, it's pretty simple. I rock a stopper, and it's actually the beads, like the rubber stoppers. And I find the right ones at any bait shop, and I purchase them and make sure that they fit on the line and that they're tight. And they're just really easy to move. And you don't have to worry about them getting caught up in your eyes or in your reel, even if you reel them in just a little bit. They seem to do pretty well, so that's what I'd recommend. So then next would be a standard bead right here to hit the stoppers, so your bobber doesn't go over that. So we have a bead that comes up to the stopper, and then these little tiny balls here, I hear a lot of debate about them. They're technically useless, but when the bobber is sitting in the water, it actually helps me see it. Oh, my bad, camera fell. I fucked up. But anyway, so let's get back to the setup here. So I left off by talking about these little balls here. Like I said, they're technically useless, but they actually help when your bobber's sitting pretty low that you can still see this. Paylakes fish are weird, so they might surface or keep your bobber into a certain point. But usually this helps when you cast out really far and you can't see. But that's another thing I'm going to get into. I usually tape my bobbers, so I only see the color at the top here. And usually I keep these color coded so you can see them. When it comes to bobbers, I use all kinds of different ones. I'm a big fan of the fill ones here. I used to get the 12-inch ones just because they were, I don't know, they just like bob real nice. But I realized that the bobber doesn't play as much as a role as the weight does. So once you get your right weight that you like and you find a bobber that you like, things start to come together a little bit. This bobber here is definitely one that I can, twitch the pole with, and it actually has a nice bounce to it in the water. So that's what I recommend, fill bobbers. These are actually sinker stoppers. And they're made by Team Catfish. So I bought them in Dick's Sporting Goods. And what this does is it kind of just cushions all this stuff comes down to the bottom, so it's not smacking or rubbing on your sinker or anything like that. Most guys usually just use a hose, like they cut small pieces of a hose and put that on there, which works too. It's whatever works for you is the biggest thing. So then it comes down to the weight that I have. Every weight, the amount of weight you have is different for every setup, depending on the bobber, because too much weight, the bobber will sink. And then, not enough weight, the bobber will, not be sitting in the water right. So once you get the right amount of weight on there, you should be set. Then I have another stopper here to cushion the sinker from hitting the knot on the line. This setup actually is one that I was experimenting with. I was I think I was in Dick's Sporting Goods, and I ended up seeing these things, and they make a sound. Like it's like a jiggly sound. It sounds like rocks inside of a can. Like, who would have thought? But anyways, I ended up buying some, and I took them up to Buckeye Lake last year and was fishing live bait, and then had one of these connected to it, and I accidentally I burned fish up. Like it wasn't even funny. Like I caught so many fish, and I had these little beads on here that are making the extra noise. So I decided to take it to the Paylakes last year and give it a shot with some live bait. Shockingly, the fish did not care. I still caught the same amount of fish with this on here than not having it on there, which is weird. But I, they're pretty cool. And if you ever see them in Dick's Sporting Goods, I would give them a shot. But I'm definitely taking this off for this year. Not saying I don't like them, but it was something just different to try. I was just throwing something in there. And then you have a swivel, both ways. I forgot to tell you the type of line I run. I run Suffix, 80 pound. I'll have to do a video later on how to actually soak it and get it to on your reel so it sinks when you get it out there to the lake. And then I run a leader. Like I said, I was really experimenting last year on how long to make these leaders. I realized that usually the longer the leader, the better, especially when you're trolling bottom. So I'm definitely going to rock some longer leaders. And what I did was I just doubled up my braid on here. And it's a stupid idea, and I learned that last year because if you was to get snagged, it's basically the same line as this. So you want to make this a little bit weaker than your actual line, just in case you get snagged and you break off below all this stuff here. You don't want to break off above the bobber, and then you lose all your shit, and then you're pissed. But yeah, so that's just my basic setup here. So I'm gonna go ahead and redo this real quick, and I'll just come back to you guys when I'm done. So give me a few seconds and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I didn't do the complete setup yet. I'm gonna show you the rest at the end here. So we got my bobber on here, stoppers ready to go, sinker, and all the cushions here, the Team Catfish sinker sliders are there. So now we're just gonna tie on our swivel. You can buy these anywhere. And they come in different sizes. These are size 7, and they're gold. I don't think it really matters the color. So let's get one of these out real quick. Okay, so when it comes to braid, the knots can be various. A lot of people use the fisherman's knot. A lot of people use the palmer knot. So that's what I'm going to use. That's what I've had most luck with. Last thing you want is your braid to, the knot to slip or something like that. So I usually go through the loop once, and then I come back through it again, just to be sure. Okay, so it's tight, and then we will just, we'll cut. It doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of people cut down literally to the knot, and I don't. I leave just a little bit hang, just in case the knot does slip or it needs to tighten up a little bit. It's got a little, piece there to do the job. Okay, so then after that, we can attach our leader. And my leader, lost my leader. I don't know where it went. Oh, here it is. Okay, so rule of thumb for leaders, like I said, I've realized that the longer it is, the better. Usually I try to make it just, longer than the bobber. The only downfall is sometimes this can get tangled up very well, very easily. When you cast, it can just get tangled up. So you want to make sure that you be careful when casting. And then the hooks I use, Gamakatsu Octopus size 3. The smaller hooks have worked out better for me. You don't want a giant ass hook on there, which I mean you can. I'm not saying you can't, but I don't recommend it. So let's go and attach down here. And this mono line that I have here is 50 pound. I don't foresee me catching something over 50 pounds. I mean, that's just me. But like I said, you want to make sure that your leader line is weaker than your braid, so you don't break. If you do get snagged and you need to break off, it'll break down here, so you don't lose your shit. Let us tie on our hook. I'm just going to do a fisherman's knot down here as well. Do 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 do. I'm like really struggling. This knot is not wanting to come through. All right, so it's really tight. I'll leave that little piece hanging there, and then let me show you exactly what we got working here. Okay, so this is the setup right here. Like I said, you got your stopper, bobber, everything comes down, and you got your leader. And the cool thing about having longer leaders, like I said, you can drag, the bottom easier. And, those flatheads can be picky sometimes, having your bobber and all that stuff right near the sinker, they might not like that. So, longer leader. And yeah, so this is my setup, and this is how I set up all my Paylake stuff when it comes to bobbers. And I'm not going to go over my bottom setup. It's pretty basic. Just basically imagine this bobber not being on here. You got a weight, and you got a long leader, and throw whatever you want on there and toss her out there. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I can, this advice can help you out. And, you don't have to be exactly like me. Everybody does it differently. And, whatever gets the job done, and whatever gets you on more fish, that's all that matters. So, well, thank you for watching. Be ready for the next video, and hope you guys have a good one. Thanks.